Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into this video in which we'll look at finding the equation of a parabola. Now, you normally need 3 points through which the parabola passes, but there are occasions where 2 points is sufficient. So let's look at some examples first where you only need 2 points to find the equation of a parabola. So firstly, we're going to find the equation of a parabola whose only x-intercept is 4 and whose y-intercept is minus 32. So this is sort of giving us 3 points. We've got the x-intercept of 4 sort of counts as 2 points because it's a double intercept, and the y-intercept is minus 32. So what that means is I will be able to write this equation as y equals some number times x minus 4 squared. That's what the equation will look like if the only x-intercept is 4. Because 4 is the only value I can substitute for x that will make y equal to 0. So I need to find out what this number a is. So to do that, I need to sub in another point. So if the y-intercept is minus 32, what I can do is take this equation, I can substitute y for minus 32 and x for 0, because y-intercept of minus 32 means it passes through the point 0 minus 32. So I need to solve this equation now. Now remember your order of operations. We do this first. 0 minus 4 is negative 4, squared is positive 16. So we get minus 32 is positive 16a. Raising brackets first, then raising to a power comes before multiplying by a. So that, of course, just gives me a is minus 2. So the equation here is y equals minus 2x minus 4 squared. Or if you expand it, you get minus 2x squared plus 16x minus 32. So now we're done with this. Now let's look at an example involving a turning point. So now we're going to find the equation of a parabola whose turning point is 2 minus 3 and has an x-intercept of 3. So we've only been given 2 points here, the x-intercept and the turning point. But if you're given the turning point and one other point, that's enough to find the equation of the parabola. So just a quick recap. If the equation is written in the form y equals ax plus h squared plus k, this is completing the square form, also called turning point form, because you can read the turning point off really simply. It's just minus hk. So for example, if you had the equation y equals, let's say, 3x plus 2 squared plus 5, its turning point is just the negative of this number in the bracket, so negative 2 and 5. So this x coordinate sort of is the opposite of what's in the brackets, but the 5 is as you'd expect it. So that's turning point form. So what that means for this equation here is I will be able to write this equation as y equals some number times x minus 2 squared, because the 2 works in the opposite way that you'd expect. It's the negative of the 2 goes in the brackets, minus 3 outside. The minus 3 is as you'd expect it from the point. So now I just need to find a, and I can do that by using the other point, x-intercept of 3. So if the x-intercept is 3, it passes through 0, 3. So I can write it like this. Once again, we're going to observe order of operations. We do 3 minus 2, 1 first. 1 squared is 1. So I'm left with 0 equals 1a minus 3. Of course, this implies a is positive 3. So therefore, the equation of this is just y equals a 3 x minus 2 squared minus 3. Now let's look at an example where you're given the x-intercepts and the y-intercept. So now we're going to find the equation of a parabola with x-intercepts 2 and 4 and a y-intercept of minus 8. So now we are given 3 points. We're given 2, 0, 4, 0, and minus 8, 0. So when you're given information about the intercepts, there's a bit of a shortcut. We know that this will be able to be written as y equals something times x minus 2 x minus 4. I know that because when x equals 4, y equals 0. So I need this x minus 4 bracket. When I substitute x is 4, this bracket equals 0. When I substitute x is 2, it makes this bracket equal 0. And so y equals 0. So now I'm going to find the value of a again. I'm going to substitute the y-intercept of 8. So y is minus 8 when x is 0. So then I've got this. I do the brackets first. So minus 8 equals a. Minus 2 times minus 4 is positive 8. And then I just divide each side by 8. So the equation here is y equals minus x minus 2, x minus 4, or if you like, minus x squared plus 6x minus 8. And then we're done. All right, let's look at some harder examples now. So now we're going to find the equation of the parabola that passes through these 3 points. So this is harder because we're not told the turning point nor anything about the x-intercepts. Now we know that the equation of any parabola can be written as y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So we need to find the values of a, b, and c. Now I can find the value of c easily from this. The y-intercept is 4. 0, 4 is a y-intercept, so c is equal to 4. So I can rewrite this equation a little easier. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus 4. So now what I need to do is I'm going to use these 2 points to form 2 equations so I can solve simultaneously for a and b. Sorry, I know this is tricky. So let's substitute in the point 1, 9. X equals 1, y equals 9 into this equation. So what I would get, y is 9 equals a. So a I don't know. X is 1, so 1 squared is 1. Plus b times 1 plus 4. So of course I can subtract the 4 from both sides to make this easier. And my first equation is a plus b is equal to 5. Now I'm going to substitute in this point into this equation here. Substitute x is minus 3, y is 1. So then I'm going to have y equals a times now x squared. I need a bracket around a negative, plus b times x plus c. So once again, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides to make this easier. So I get minus 3 equals, so this just becomes 9a. And this becomes negative 3b. So now I have 2 equations here that I solve simultaneously. So to solve simultaneously these 2 equations, I'm going to use the elimination method. So I'm going to times the top equation by 3 to make the coefficients of b the same. So then the top equation becomes 3a plus 3b. Remember, I have to times everything in the equation by 3, and then I leave the bottom equation as it is. So now what I want to do is eliminate one of the variables. I'm going to eliminate the b because there's a 3 in front of it in both equations. So to eliminate this, I need to add together the 2 equations because 3b plus negative 3b is 0. So I've got to add everything together. 3a plus 9a is 12a. The b's I've got rid of, and 15 plus negative 3 is 12. A equals 1. And if I substitute that into this equation here, I get 3 plus 3b is 15. So I get b is equal to 4. So I've found the values for a, b, and c. So now I've got my equation. It's simply y equals a x squared or 1x squared, doesn't matter if you don't write the 1, plus bx plus c. And then I'm done. Alright, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.